are structural problems in the Medicaid program. There's the question of Medicaid dollars flowing into institutions that don't particularly serve the poor. I am worried that the political default position is going to be let's figure out where the least political damage I can get, and that's generally to take monies from the very poorest, particularly Black and Latino citizens, while leaving other institutions fairly much untouched. We see examples over the years of this kind of behavior, and particularly with many of the high-end teaching hospitals in the city of New York, which increasingly have denied care for the uninsured and Medicaid patients, while taking large amounts of bad debt and charity pool monies and Medicaid monies, essentially serving a narrower and narrower band of New Yorkers. So they're going to be tough choices here, but I think your viewers have to realize that if they're not careful, the tough choices may be taken out on the most vulnerable populations.
Doug?
Well, I think you heard the very basics of the puzzle that that Albany faces. The controller talked about the gap in revenue between revenues and spending, which is very real, over $9 billion for the state in the upcoming year.
And that's just for this
upcoming year. And then at the same time, well, how do you close that gap? Well, we didn't hear from him direct answers on what to cut. We heard the state is already too taxed, and we shouldn't do more borrowing. Well, what else is there? So you have to make choices among those pieces. Or, well, I guess the other thing is you can hope that the federal government will give us more stimulus dollars. The likelihood of that happening or happening to the extent to stave off the problems for a little bit longer is highly unlikely.
Well, we keep hearing that, and I'm sure both of you have heard it till it's coming out of your ears, about the structural problems in approaching the deficit. Is one of those structural problems that the political system as it exists right now does not lend itself to the people who've been elected to office actually taking a long view, actually making decisions on some sort of rational basis, as opposed to cover their behind, make statements, appear to be solving the problem, and coming up with solutions that work for everybody's reelection, as it were, but don't necessarily address the problem?
There's no question that's been going on. The issue of one-shots really in Albany have been notorious.
These are these one-time
borrowing, one-time whole fix, and of course we're starting to really pay the costs of that now, because I don't think anyone expected the recession to be as deep as it is. And moreover, I think there was a dream that the robust economy, and particularly in Wall Street, would lead to ever-growing revenue sources as through taxation. Now it's all come apart, and you see people running around like chickens without their heads on.